Hi everyone. Today video is on Blazor WebAssembly file uploading using MudBlazor UI component. Okay, so let's jump into creating a sample application to accomplish our demo. Okay, so here I am selecting Blazor WebAssembly app template. So name your project and solution file and specify your location to create your project and click on next. So here I am using the current .NET version, that is 5. Okay, let's create the project. So here is our sample project just created. Now MudBlazor library is a UI library for Blazor applications. Okay, so we have to install the package. Okay, select manage NuGet packages option. So go to browser tab, MudBlazor. Okay, so top one you can install. So here you can see RC. I'm going to install the stable version. Okay, install it. Okay, now the package got successfully installed. And as a first step in program.cs file, we have to configure the MudBlazor service. Okay, so builder.services dot add mud services. You can see namespace MudBlazor.services. It loads from. Okay, and we have to add uh, two referral links for CSS files that are going to that are already installed in our application implicitly by the MudBlazor library. So we have to add those references into our application. So the area we have to configure the global CSS styles or JavaScript is the index.html file in the www root folder. Okay, go to the index.html file. Okay, let me add the two required CSS links. Okay, these are the two required CSS links recommended by the MudBlazor. One is fonts for Google API, and another one is underscore content slash MudBlazor slash MudBlazor.min.css. And also, it is recommended to comment this Bootstrap min.css, which comes by default with Bootstrap styling. Okay, and also this global CSS file, styles.css file. Okay, and now we have to add JavaScript link just above the body close tag that is also related to MudBlazor. So MudBlazor.min.js file has to be added just above the closing body tag. Okay, and one more final configuration is that just add the root namespace in the import folder so that we can use all MudBlazor components easily into our Blazor component. Okay, so here let me add the MudBlazor. Okay, and if you run, let's check how our application looks like. Okay, so after this initial configuration, my website looks like this. And we can observe the website look very awkward because no styles has been added till now. And also we have removed existing bootstrap styles, right? Okay. To make it little better, let's add a MudBlazor app bar component to our sample. Okay. So to apply global styles to our sample, we have to open main layout dot Blazor, which is a master layout Blazor component we have to add some styles here. Okay. So to import the MudBlazor themes, we have to add one component that is like Mud theme provider. Okay. I can do as self-closing tag. Okay. And let me remove the existing menu and this ref link. Okay. Let me add Mud app bar component. See here, I have just added Mud app bar component. Okay. It will give a nice app bar onto our website. Okay. And I have titled my sample as file upload demo using mud text, which is another MudBlazor component. Okay. And let me give some spacing. Okay. Now check our application. Now it's better than before, right? After adding some MudBlazor components to apply some styles. Okay. Now let's dive into our uh, core concept, that is file uploading. Okay. How to compose file upload in MudBlazor? See, MudBlazor won't provide any default built-in component for file upload. Okay. Okay. So we have to compose it. How we can do that? So in general, using HTML elements like label and input field, we can create a file upload button. Okay. So same HTML elements we can use and build a file upload in our application as well. Okay. So to compose with label and input field, we have to follow few things like the for attribute. Okay. For is one of the HTML attribute. Value of the label element must match with the ID value of the input field. So what we are doing means the ID value for an input field, which is generally a file upload button by the HTML element by default, same ID value must be assigned to the label. Okay. So we enable the input to be triggered by clicking on the label. So this trick is to style the label to look like a button and hide the input button. So by default, input file upload button won't have any style. So to apply styles to it, what we can do means we can use a label, and for that label we can use a for attribute and whose value must match with the input field file upload field ID value. Okay. Now here what we can do means we can uh, we, we can raise a click event of a label to the input field implicitly so that we can design the label in such a way like a button whichever the style we want to that label. Okay. So it is like a trick. Instead of designing a input field, because we cannot add nice designs to the input element, which is a actual file upload field. So what we are doing, we are indirectly mapping with a label that input field, and we are decorating with a nice style to that label. Okay. So same way we have to do here as well. So Blazor WebAssembly from .NET 3.1 provides a Blazor component for upload file is input file. So input file is a component for file uploading in Blazor WebAssembly. So what it will help means we using the input to file, we can directly interact with our C# code for file uploading. Otherwise, if you use input field for file upload, then we have to depend upon the JavaScript code. So to avoid the JavaScript code, .NET has provided a component that is like input file. Okay. So now we have to do it in MudBlazor. So what we can do means we can make a mud button component. Okay. Mud button component as a label. So how we can do means uh, the HTML label element to the there is a tag for a, sorry, mud button component we can make it as a label. So how we can make it as a label? We can add a HTML tag attribute. So to that tag, we have to assign a value like label. So what it will happen when this mud button renders, it will render like a label. That is the flexibility given by the MudBlazor library. Okay. So so with this, what will happen? It will render as a label HTML, and we can get benefit of all the MudBlazor button styles. Okay, and we can map the per attribute, okay, of this mud button to the input file component of the MudBlazor library. So we can create the file upload button with the rich styles. Okay, so let's jump into our demo and make some sample. So to accomplish this demo, what I am doing in pages, I am going to take index.razor component where I will implement my demo. Okay. So first thing is I have to add MudBlazor button component as well as the Blazor WebAssembly input file component. Okay, let me add those things. Here I have used few MudBlazor components like MudPaper. MudPaper, it will show some box effect, okay, like a paper effect on UI. Okay, and here you can see I have used input file, which is a Blazor component for file uploading. So so we cannot add styles to this input field. So we have discussed it, right? We will create a label and we will add styles to that label, right? So that label here is mud button. So how it will be a mud button? Here I am assigning HTML tag as a label, means it will generate like a label in the HTML while it is rendered. Okay, and we will get benefit like all MudBlazor button styles will be applied to that label. And here after this, one more important attribute is for attribute. This value should match with this value, ID value of the input file, because on clicking this button, implicitly it will invoke this field, this component, okay, for uploading the file. So that is the technique we have to remember. Okay. So here input field we will obviously hide, because if you won't hide, it will appears like a actual button, uploading button. Okay, we will hide it, hidden it. And here we will add another attribute like multiple for selecting the multiple images. If you remove, you can only select single image. Okay, let's check the output. So finally, my button looks like this. See some button effect with rich UI. Okay, and here you can see some box effect. That is because of this mud paper component. Okay, and if you inspect HTML, you can see it is not rendered as a button. It is rendered as a label. That is because we have specified that HTML tag has to be a label. For suppose if I remove this, it will render as a button. You can check it now. See, here it is rendered as a button. So the technique is we are implicitly specifying the what type of HTML it has to be rendered. Okay. So far so good. How we can upload the image? So on clicking button, I have mentioned this click event will be raised, right? So here there will be a default method like on change event. So for this on change, we have to define our method. Okay, where we can read files into our C# code. Okay, let me create a one method for it. So to write C# code block. Okay. So here you can see I have created a method like upload file, and it will read a event like input file change event on. This is the default event. Okay. It is a default event that loads from the component Blazor components. Okay. So we have to register this method with on change. Okay, I have registered. So now I want to read uh, those images which we are going to be selected, and I want to preview them before uploading to the server. Okay, so to read that we can loop images like e.get multiple files. So what it will do means it will loop the images that are selected in the UI. Okay, so once we have read the images, I want to store it in a model so that later I can post that same model data to the server so server can save those images. Okay, so first let me create a model. So let me create a folder like models and create a file like save file. And finally, save file looks like this. If you observe here, here I am having the property like collection of file data. So here file data contains image bytes. So what I will do, I will store the uploaded image as a bytes into this variable, byte array into this variable, and I will store the name as well and store the file type and file size as well. Okay, so these are the required fields. So finally, I am going to store all the collection of files into this variable. Okay, so let's define the instance in our component index.razor component. So let's import the model namespace as well so that I can easily use the names directly in my component. So here I imported my model namespace as well. Now let's create a variable like for save files. Now let's save each individual file into this variable. Okay. So let's initialize file data. Okay. Why I am created? Implicitly it is storing collection of file data. Okay. Where buffer equal to new. So I have to create a buffer with the file size. Okay. I'm going to use the original size of the file that we can get from the size because this file is a high browser file type. You can hover, you can see here after hovering high browser type. So this is a default type that loads from the ASP.NET components. Okay. So here we have a lot of meaningful properties about the photo or file uploaded. Okay, from that I am taking the size and creating the buffer. Okay, and here I can do await file dot open stream read sync and copy the bytes of image data into the buffer. Okay, so now what I can do, file data dot file name equal to I can get from the file attribute file name. Okay, file size we know, file size type file dot content type. Image bytes are nothing but our buffer. Okay, and finally add that object to the save files instance. Okay, now we have successfully saved our uploaded files into our variable. Okay, now let me add some preview which files have been uploaded. Okay, and here you can see I have added one more mud paper so to show the preview and looping my all save files variable which contains our uploaded images information. And inside of it, I am creating each image to show in another individual mud paper. And inside of it, I have used image. So let me bind my selected image here for preview. So I can use bytes data to be rendered here. So here what I am doing, I am adding like a base64 image because I have already have bytes of bytes image data bytes, right? So I can use that to render as a base64 image. Okay. So here what I am doing, this is a general base64 image rendering format, nothing new here. Here only after data column, I have to dynamically specify the image type, whether it is a PDF or a image or anything. Okay. And then base64 comma and our bytes of data as a string. Okay. So that I am assigning to the src attribute of the image tag. Okay, let's check and how and select a few images and check preview coming or not. Okay, now let's select a few images for uploading. Okay, so click on the button. So from here, let me select few images. Okay, I can then select multiple images, right? So I'm selecting these two images. See, I am able to preview the images I have selected. Okay, so that is because of this newly added functionality. Okay, now before before creating a API for saving the uploaded files, let me add some delete button as well so that I can remove the images once after I have selected as well. Okay, so here you can observe I added mud icon button and its icon type is delete. Okay, now I am going to register a click event for it and I want to remove the item from the collection. Okay, so to do that I have to create a one more private method like and I am going to receive a file data and simply what I will do means save file dot remove file. Okay, so I am going to register this remove data for the icon click delete icon click. So let's register click event. Okay, since it is has some input value for the method, I have to create an anonymous function like this and now I have to call the method actual method and here I can directly pass the file item here, right? Variable item. So now it will remove the on clicking it will remove the item from the collection. Okay, so let's test this functionality as well. So let's select the images again and you can see the icon, right? Let's click on it. See, I am able to remove as well. So we have successfully created upload, preview and delete. Now let's jump into creating a sample API project quickly where I will add some already prepared controller endpoint, okay, where we can save our uploaded files into a physical location. Okay, so to this solution, let's add API project. So ASP.NET Core Web API, let's name it like API. Okay, create it. So here you can observe now we have two projects. One is UI and another one is API. Okay. So first thing. Let's create the payload model in API project as well. Okay, as it is like the model which we created in the UI application, nothing but Blazor WebAssembly application. Models. So same model I have created again, but this time in the API project. Okay. Or else you can create a shared library, C# class library, and you can share the these payload models in that library both into API and Blazor WebAssembly in the real-time process. Okay. So let's create a controller, test controller in the API project. So here is my new controller. Okay, testing controller for saving. I have just created action method with the sample logic to save the uploaded file into the physical location. So let's go through it. So here if you observe, this is the action method and here is the payload object. And we know payload object like this, it will have a collection of files information. So here what I am doing, I am looping each file. Okay. And here I simply return for JPG and PNG in a real world in development, you have to consider all kind of extensions that are like all kind of acceptable extensions like PDF or Excel or anything. Any file if you are uploading, then you have to write a logic for finding the extension. Okay. So here I am just considering about images. Okay, for the demo purpose. So I am using PNG and JPG. And finally, what I am doing, I am creating a fully qualified path. So in my D drive, I have created a folder my test and there, and I am naming my file like GUID and with extensions from the above. Why I am creating some GUID as a name? It is recommended to not to use the same name, okay, that was sent from the UI. Okay, so that's the reason I am creating some random string using the GUID. Okay, I am creating the file path and I am opening the file path and pushing the all bytes of data into that file. So this logic, what it will do, it will create a file and pushes the all the data, bytes of data that we have uploaded and create the file. So that's the simple logic. Okay, nothing else here. And one more piece of code we have to add here, that is we have to enable the cross origins because these are run under two different ports, right? So to consume this API in my Blazor WebAssembly application, API must be enable CORS. Okay. So to enable CORS, go to startup.cs. Okay. Here let me add the CORS. Okay. This is my CORS. I'm setting like allow all origins, all kind of headers and methods. Okay. And this should be invoked by a this should be accepted by a middleware. So let's register the middleware here. Okay. Just use the default middleware, that is use CORS, and pass the or cross CORS origin service registration name. Okay. So that's all. We are done with the changes in the API project. Okay. And what I will do one more thing. By default, local projects always run under 5,000, right? Port numbers. So what I will do, I will change the API port to 6,000 so that my Blazor WebAssembly runs under 5,000. Okay. Copy this HTTPS URL. I'm going to use HTTPS anyway. Okay. Now go to program.cs file in Blazor WebAssembly. Okay, this is the right. So here there is a one default HTTP client, right? So here what I will do, I will replace with my URL. Okay. So this is the URL. So now what I will do using HTTP client instance, I am going to consume my file upload API into the Blazor WebAssembly application. Okay, go to index.razor component. Okay, and here I need to inject HTTP client. I can write like HTTP. Okay, and let me add a method for uploading the file. See, here I have created a method like save to server in my Razor component, index.razor component. So from the HTTP client, which I have injected just now, okay, we will have some default methods like post JSON async, where you can provide our remaining path of the API. Why I am only providing remaining path of the API? Because it will already loads the origin from here. So that's why we no need to specify fully qualified URL and passing simply my entire payload. Okay, that must post our all data into the server. So let me create one more MudBlazor button where on clicking it, we have to post our data to the server. Okay. So here you can see I have just added one more mud button. Okay. So it is to upload the selected files to the server. Okay. So only thing is I need to register on click with my save to server method. Okay, that's it. We are done with the changes. Let's run both API as well as Blazor WebAssembly application. So first, let me run the API project. So here API is running successfully. See the port number 6000. Okay. Now let's run our Blazor WebAssembly as well. Okay. See, now we have two files. Let me upload two images like this image and this image. Okay. Now click on inspect element and go to network calls. And now click on upload files to the server. Okay. See, upload files to the server. API call has been done and it is 200. That means it is successfully uploaded. And if you observe the payload here, you can see we are sending bytes of images data to the server. And this is my physical location, D drive my test. And here you can see files has been successfully uploaded. We have successfully uploaded all our data. Okay. So that's all about composing a file upload button using MudBlazor components. Okay. I think this video has been delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. We will meet you again with a new video. Until then, signing off.